When I was 22, I lost my hand in an accident at work. I was working for the CN Rail and I lost my hand, and I became really aware of justice issues at that time. I had really important people help me. They changed the direction of my life. And at that moment, I decided to go into law school because of the role of these big institutions and how they can dramatically change people's lives. And that was me just growing up in the city of Winnipeg with all the privilege that comes with that. So while I was in law school, there was this amazing event that happened in Canada called the Meech Lake Accord. And it was a round of constitutional reform that Canada was undergoing that was going to dramatically change the face of governance in Canada. And Indigenous peoples were completely excluded, and they stopped the process, largely based out of Manitoba. It was a very well-known Indigenous leader, Elijah Harper, and also Phil Fontaine created this movement to really, and I remember that I was in second year law school on this moment where Elijah Harper stood and held up a feather in the legislature, and it stopped. They had ways of proceeding, right? They used the rules of the dominant society kind of against them to protect their own rights. And I remember thinking, like even now talking about it, I have chills, remembering how it felt to see this group of people that I really knew nothing about, and their rights were protected in the Constitution, but I didn't know anything about that, just changed the face of history. That was a historical moment. And I thought at that moment, I want to work on those issues. It's fundamental to Canada, and it's a huge injustice. And as a non-Indigenous person, I'm part of that. And I maybe didn't create that problem, my ancestors did, but it's my responsibility today whether it continues. And so it was just a pivotal moment. I started to go work with the Assembly of Manitoba Chiefs. And ever since then, I've just been on that path of working as an ally, a non-Indigenous ally with Indigenous people. And so helped in whatever way. So one of the first things I did was to create, with 10 chiefs, an Indigenous environmental organization. It's the one I still work with. And over time, like as a lawyer, I've been trained to look at things through laws, but laws only get you so far. You need people behind them to believe in them, enforce them, and they have a nasty characteristic of entrenching the status quo. Laws do. And so I have always been about basically law reform and finding the people and the places and the opportunities to create a better structure through the lens that I come at it at, which is law, policy, and governance. And this opportunity here, given the politics in Canada right now, Canada's commitment on the United Nations Declaration on the Rights of Indigenous People, Canada's commitment on the Truth and Reconciliation Commission calls to action, and there are other commitments on nation to nation, for example. This is the moment in history where all the things that I've ever at least cared about and all the people I've worked with cared about could actually really happen.